何かしら。
しばらくは夜早いだろうからお弁当にした方がいいんじゃないかって。
あら、それはそうだわ。急いでお米炊かなきゃ。
あと、久石さん、あなたにこれを。
Is it a gun?
ぼんよよよよ。
What? What is this? What are you in a fucking variety show now?
I guess.
I was busy deflecting Haru-chan's attacks with my stupidity barrier. So being dragged into the conversation surprised me a bit. Oh my god. So I've been titling all of the new uploads, like Scary Things Are Scary and Most Convoluted Game of Werewolf Ever. I'm absolutely titling this one Activate My Stupidity Barrier.
Good.
He gave me a rather dirty, rusty, cheap-looking cylindrical key. It wasn't even attached to a keychain. Oh. I have my own room now. I don't have to sleep in the toilet anymore.
Oh, put him back in the toilet where he belongs.
It's Toilet Man.
He's Toilet Man. Yep, he's the werewolf.
そうでしょ。あの人がいるからこんなところでもなんとかしていけるわ。
母さん、やっぱり。
あ、お米お米。
With an awkward smile on her face, Kaori-san went back to the kitchen. She wants that slab of beef.
まあ。Yes,
you are. I made a blatant lie. Everyone could tell that Kaori-san and Takumi-san would make a nice couple. Not really. This is a good kid.
He is a good kid, but Haru has his number. Haru has Haruaki's number. Like she knows that he's just after Chiemi.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They had to stop fighting about me. We had an innocent little girl here. Also,
she's the werewolf.
Probably. Also, Chiemi's info was confirmed to be true. Trying to escape seemed dangerous, and recommending it was heartless. Basically, getting out of here was difficult. That made me all the more grateful for the room. I've been so busy trying to understand what was going on in this place that I didn't even consider how to deal with myself. I'd have to thank Takumi-san.
はるちゃん、知恵姉と遊ぼうのコーナー。遊ぶって何を？信頼モーデ。
What?
今？なんでまた？メイコちゃんに正しいやつを見せようかなって。ね。
Okay. Sheep?
いいけど、知恵姉ってそういうの結構こだわるよね。まあね。
Something was about to begin. No longer the center of attention, I began drinking the hot water Kaori-san placed before me.
And plotting how to become the center of attention once again.
Once again. Activating my stupidity barrier. The teacup had a strange symbol enameled at the bottom. It looked like a family crest. That's the monkey. That's the monkey crest.
How?
I don't know, but I'm almost positive it's the monkey.
Okay.
His harsh tone made it pretty likely that it was the crest of the Higuchi family, the ones who banished them here. Haru-chan moved a chair and sat down in front of Chiemi.
私が男役でいい？いいよ。じゃあ行くよ。1、2、せーの。
Bubbles. Oh, this is the song that Mako butchered. They started playing an action rhyme, much like Ring Around the Rosie or London Bridge is Falling Down. Fully in sync, they clapped, slapped their knees, clapped again, joined hands, etc., all according to the rhythm. And there was no mistaking it. This was actually the song I'd heard yesterday morning. Badger?
Where'd the badger come from?
They were doing it pretty quickly, so I couldn't see everything, but it was definitely complex. They even raised fingers and made fist bumps. Also, I was pretty sure I'd heard that part somewhere. Huh. Oh. Suddenly, the song changed in tone. The movement switched up, too. Haru-chan hit her face, while Chiemi stood up a bit and grabbed her by the shoulders. That's a fun little rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
Similar line, but the roles switched. They returned to the same tone and movements as before, but then, at a slightly awkward point, the song suddenly ended. Then they quickly stood up and...
Yay!
Yay! Apparently they were done.
どうさめいこちゃん、もともとはこういう遊びなんだよ。
すごい。早くてよくわかんなかった。
よーし、はるちゃん、めいこちゃんに教えてあげるんだ。え、私が？教
えて。
まあいいけど。やすくん、ちょっと話したいことある。
Chiemi's tone was serious.
何かな?
Yasunaga-kun instantly understood that it was important, but he seemed to be mindful of me.
もし宴のことだったら、僕がいない方がいいかな。すみません。
Chiemi gave me a meaningful look as I left. She'd probably tell me something the next time we met.
ちょっと出てきますね。
はい。お構いできずに。ごめんなさい。
Before I go, your husband, how'd he die? Kaori-san stuck her head out and said goodbye to me as I left the dining hall. God damn it! I put together what I'd learned, the settlement's beliefs, circumstances, and the inhabitants' stances. However, Chiemi was really the only one I could directly get info from. I couldn't account for any biases she might have had. The other inhabitants, albeit to varying degrees, didn't trust me. I could probably have decent talks with Yasunaga-kun, but his situation seemed to be similar to Chiemi's. I'd have liked to get info from the elders. Maybe the best option was to somehow join the feast myself? From what Chiemi told me, the feast was a really vile and dangerous tradition. And that didn't change even when you consider the tales and that there had already been lynchings because of this. Normally, something so brutal would have changed and become some harmless festival by now. How did such a tradition survive in the modern day, despite murder and lynchings being completely illegal? Was this place simply beyond the reach of the law or something?
Yes.
Or because she saw God. Or because you'd actually get cursed if you didn't do what the tales told you to. How stupid. You are the king of gaslighting yourself, Haruaki. Then again,
he really is.
I couldn't really write it off. My stance on gods and monsters was basically that, as long as they could be seen, I was willing to accept their existence. The belief that nothing was beyond the comprehension of modern science was now reminded at best. New technologies and methods could easily reveal things that were previously undetectable. This had happened many times throughout human history. The idea that there were strange animals, ghosts, or aliens that were simply beyond our current ability to perceive was entirely plausible. However, there were disappointing realities too. For example, the original story about something mysterious could have easily been a lie, trick, misunderstanding, or misinformation. Generally speaking, the mysteries of the world all turned out to be one of those. Science disproved things far more often than it confirmed them, which is pretty damn boring. I mean, fair.
Yeah.
Surely, even Houdini, famous for exposing mediums and other frauds, wanted to believe in psychic phenomena. He'd searched the world in the hopes of meeting a real medium, but each he found proved to be fake in the end. Wolf. Well, considering I'd actually seen something that shouldn't have existed, you could say that I was in a way more exciting situation than him. Though my life was in danger, so I couldn't really waste time trying to speculate what that thing was. Back to the matter at hand. I sidetracked myself. Anyway, for now, the most important thing was understanding and surviving the feast. To pull that off, I needed more info. I still hadn't heard how today's talk had ended. Based on the mood of the place, no one seemed to have died, at least. They died.
Yeah, they died.
Shocked, I turned around. Who was this? It was a girl I'd never seen before. The girl turned and ran, her skirt swaying behind her. What? So you did know? You're like, who's this girl I've never seen before? Wait a minute, Mochi. Yeah, Poop Man.
Poop Man.
いや、確かに見た目は結構びっくりしたが、喋り方と声はもうちょっと工夫した方がいいな。いや、別に変装のつもりじゃないし。え、普段着だとでも。お、僕は超貧乏だからずっと学生服を着てたら、マイバーが文句タラタラ言ってきてね。だからハルちゃんにお下がりをもらったのさ。可愛かろう。まあ確かに可愛いが、一応性別は男なんだよね、君は。
If I didn't already, I'd have assumed he was a girl.
ちゃんとついているぞ。
I like this kid.
I like Mochi.
自分の性別に違和感があったりするの？
なんだそれ。僕は男だ。
No.
じゃあなんでそんなことを。
Who cares if he likes it?
別になんでなんてない。僕はそういうやつだからだ。
そういう。
Okay.
卑怯の振る舞いというやつ。頭がおかしいので普通の人とはうまくやっていけないのだ。でも好きなようにやらないのはそれはそれできついから多少は変にするわけだ。
つまり自然体というわけ。
そう。寒くなければすっぱだかでも悪くないな。
So basically, this was a guy with a unique sense of, well, everything. Unless he found something that really clicked, he'd have a hard time living anywhere, even in the city.
Yeah, he'd probably have an easier time in the city.
Honestly, yeah. Like, just let him live his truth.
Yep.
Yasumizu はだいたい住みやすいぜ。うんこマンも住むといい。
Poop man.
なんでそんな話になるかな。
都会は住みにくかろう？
いや、断然便利だしな。
そうか。てっきり嫌なことがあって飛び出してきたのかと思った。
Yeah, didn't he have a bad breakup?
まあ、
His girlfriend dumped him.
うんこマンも頭おかしい人でしょ？
Yeah, he is.
全力で否定するけど。
No, you're
No.
weird.
100% weird.
No, be weird with Mochi. Give Mochi solidarity. Oh, there he is! Yeah!
The best character in this game.
Whoa, there was a weird old guy in the bushes.
マンが変態だと思う。だよね、うんこマンは。
ね。
うんこ。お願いだからその故障を広めないでくれ。妻子でも春秋でも何でもいいから。
ハッサン
What? Did I look like a Middle Easterner? What? I was mildly bothered by the accentuation too. He was probably avoiding using nicknames that were similar to Haru-chan's name.
まあいいかそれで。
うんこマンはハッサンになった。
I've evolved. I was never Poop Man to begin with. That's a
You're
lie.
always Poop Man.
You are Poop Man in your soul.
頭おかしい友達だ。
God, I love that fucking old man.
Well, the old man seemed to be enjoying
ハ
it.
ッサンも仲間になろう。霧が晴れたら上富士吉に庭
Yeah,
木に
fuck
盗
them.
みに
Let's
行こ
take their chickens.
そんなカッパ的な。
Hell, why did he like me that much? Well, that might have been a good thing. He seemed to be a bit more unique than the other two students.
ちなみに今日はなんで他の高校生たちと一緒じゃないの？
う。だってはるちゃん怒ってたし、楽しくないことになり
She
そう
was
な気配
cranky,
が全
and I
開だ
didn't
った
feel
の。
like dealing with that shit.
彼女は何を怒ってたの？
Relatable.
はるちゃんはさ、やっすんのことが好きだからさ。
Oh. Uh-oh.
ジエネーが帰ってきて、やっすんが嬉しそうなのが気に入らないのだよ。
Huh.
そしたらなぜ僕が怒られる？
やっすんがジエネーのこと好きなのを、はるち
What?
ゃんは一応応援しちゃってるし。
Well, I sure didn't expect to hear something like that.
片思いしてる相手の恋を手助けしてしまってるってことか。
そうそう。だからハッサンがジエネーと突如ベタベタしだしたんで、わけわかんなくなってんだよ。
Also very confused.
So basically, I accidentally entered a love triangle. Well, not really.
ちな
No.
みにちえみちゃんはそういうの気づいてるのかな？
そりゃそうじゃない？でも相手にしてないし、脈はないね。
Man, this kid was
と
harsh.
いうわけで、よかったな。ジエネーはハッサンのものだ。
いや
Gross.
ーどうかな。っていうか君はそれでいいのかい？
なんで聞くかな。
Hey, can we get to the horror and the murders and
いや
stop with young people's fucking relationships?
Yeah, this fucking love octagon.
まあ多分そんなんじゃないな。幼なじみとして危なっかしいから心配してるだけさ。
意
Okay.
外だなモッチー。そういうやつをからかいまくるキャラかと思った。
Poorly written romance is the true
ハッ
horror.
サンだったら死ぬほどおちょくるけど。
It's true.
やっすんには借りがいっぱいあるし、はるちゃんはかわいそうな子だからな。
Like, I get where this all has to be done to kind of establish the characters a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish this weird, like, young people crushing on other people wasn't a narrative, like, framing device.
なんか
Yeah.
いろいろ聞くのもあれだし、それはいずれ別の時に聞かせてくれ。
Like, there's so many other ways I could have learned about them, and
すでに
and
喋り
it
すぎた。
not have turned into this.
何の魔術
Yep.
だ？ハッサンめ。
He was the one who got blabbing on his
ところ
own.
でさっき死んだって言ってたけど、誰か死んだの？いや、記者さんは亡くなったけど。
Yasumizu人はまだ死んでないけど、死んだも同然だろう。
Huh.
なんでそう思ったの？
さあ、なんでとかは
I'm
僕には
not good
わ
at
からん
reasons.
けどなんかね。
Mochi is the most relatable one here.
Hard agree.
ヘビだ
Oh, you might have been right. When Takamine said he was the snake, I had a bad feeling come over me.
ああ、今狼様が笑ったなって。
Oh, shit.
待て、今なんて言った？
狼様が笑ったな
I
って。
could hear the wolves laughing.
Mm-hmm.
その前だ。
タクミ兄が
Oh, that's right. He wasn't there for that.
Yeah, yeah.
匠さんが蛇なのか？
そう言ってた。
ちょっと
Okay.
休養ができた。またな、モッチ、おじいさん。
See you, old man.
知ってたのか？
Shit, I didn't have the time nor the connections. Okay.
ムロさん。
Uh-oh.
あ、なんだ。
Oh, our big sweet himbo.
That was my line. Why was he farming at a time like this?
ありがとうございます。
ああ、それはいいけど、あんま一人でうろつくなよ。ただでさえみんなピリピリしてんだから。
そのことですが、ムロさんは狼が一晩に何人殺すか知ってますか？
Just gonna come out and say it, huh?
チエミのやつ、そんなことまで喋ったのか。
僕が無理に聞き出したんです。というか、話が伝わることはあなたも予想した上でチエミちゃんに任せたはずだ。それでも情報は断片的ですが、ちょっと心配があるんです。すみませんが、教えてもらえませんか？
実のところ、俺はバカらしいんだよ。こんなことで他の世話は邪魔されんのがよ。チエミやあんたにはわかるかと思ったが、結局あんたもマジになってんのか？
Well, he really didn't seem all that bothered. Didn't seem all that bothered by all this, but
二人死んでいる。
何が珍しいんだ？
は？
あのな、人間なんざいくらでも死んでるし、俺はいくらでも片付けてる。
what? What was he
上
talking
の土
about?
砂崩れの現場見たか？ありゃ8年前に野里が手入れたら崩れてそのまんまになってる。君はうがって片付けもしやがらねえ。作業員の死体は俺が掘り出して埋めた。
Oh, damn. I had no idea that was such a big deal.
バカな町の奴らが山ん中で首つって獣に食われることもある。俺やおやすさんが苦労して片付ける羽目になる。皿長に死体が流れることも珍しくねえ。渓流釣りだかなんだか知らねえが、上流は危ねえっつうのによ。
Everyone stop being dumb and dying. I have to deal with it.
それでもな。
Yeah, seriously.
誰も何もしてくれねえ。俺らとしちゃな。
Oh, that I think that explains all the grave markers that are up, like all the stones.
山っつうのは獣が出ようがムクロが出ようが何でもありなんだよ、兄ちゃん。
でも今回は村の中で。
ああ、なんだろうな。月の輪が人を食うなんざ聞かねえし、もしかして本物の狼でも群れで来たかもな。
あれが野獣の仕業だと？
人間の仕業だっつうのもどうなんだ。要は夜に番を立てりゃいい話だろうが、なぜバカみてえに殺し合う必要がある。
This person was hard to read. Yeah, he kind of like did a full 180 in personality.
Yeah, he did.
There was no denying he had a good head on his shoulders. He was reasonable and skeptical about the unknown. On the other hand, there were some things he put even above rationality. It felt like something you could call Yasumizu's rules, or better yet, fellowship. He looked at the situation from the perspective of, I gotta protect Yasumizu. He did whatever he could within those constraints, but he was in denial about the existence of enemies originating from within Yasumizu. To him, the situation was just a common case of some outsiders died, so what? Or maybe that was what he really wanted to think. That made the situation very bad. But I, being an outsider, couldn't say that.
そうですよね。おっしゃる通り、そんな迷信に耳を貸す方がどうかしてます。
He looked displeased. What was I supposed to do?
ただ、
Walk
ちょっ
away.
と気になるんです。伝説で今夜一晩で皆殺しになるとかなってるなら心の持ちようが違う。
ああ、それはねえな。狼が殺すってのは一晩に一人だ
But
けの
why?
話だ。
Oh, rules.
そうなんで
Mountain
すか。
rules. Oh.
伝説上それはなぜだってこ
But
とになって
really?
るんで
But
しょう。
why?
ばあちゃんなんつってたかな。誰も山の掟には逆らえん。世持つ狼様であっても。だと。
Yeah, it's the rules of the mountain.
世持つ狼。
蘇った狼って意味だと。
Huh, weird. I felt like I heard that term before. Still, wasn't it weird that the laws applied to the wolves too? They were on the Yomibito side, as in those opposing the mountain. And I was pretty sure the law of the mountain said that only one person could be killed per day. Lynching one during the day was the limit, and killing more than one per night was against the rules. Both would make you the target of the corruption. It didn't make much sense to me, but at least I found out that the wolves too could only kill one person per night.
変なこと聞いてすみませんでした。おとなしく引っ込んでおきます。あ、男手がいるときは言ってください。勝手に手は出さないでおきますが、ここに居候してる分、働きたいんです。
With your weak city boy arms? No thanks.
ああ、そうだな。
You can't even fix a bike.
Idiot. His last reply was half-hearted, but at least I got a bit of the rules I was missing. When I came back to the dining hall, I found the students, Chiemi and Yoshitsuki-kun, Yasunaga's little brother. Mako had left. Oh, not this shit again.
何それ。
Guess this shit again.
The name still got a chance to spread. That aside, I had to find out what happened at today's feast. Recalling what Mochi told me made this kind of hard.
悪いけど、ちょっとちえみちゃん借りていい？
No.
わお、ちえみさん大人気。
Wow.
Wow.
懲りないわね。
はるちゃん、いいから僕らは母さんを手伝おう。
兄ちゃんも何か言ってよ。
多分難しい話なんだよ。
僕は皿を叩き割る係。
はるちゃん、近持くんを押さえつける係。
He has done this before.
何よこれ。
ごめんね、なんかバタバタして。
安永くんと何を話してた？
さっきの宴でね、ちょっとまずいよねって。
Yeah, I figured it was
匠さ
something
んが
like
ヘ
that.
ビって名乗ったと近持くんから聞いたんだけど。
うん、そうなんだよね。
他にヘビは？
No.
他？いや、ヘビは一人だし。
The mountain gave 4 kinds of guardians. The snake could ask the mountain whether one of the participants is a wolf or not. The monkey was the only one of which there were 2. They had the power to know who the other monkey was. The crow could determine whether the person who was lynched the previous day was a wolf or not. And the spider could ask God to protect one of the other participants from the wolves' attack. Honestly, if this so-called God really had that power, I'd complain to him that he should protect everyone. And as far as I knew, anyone who didn't have a guardian was either a powerless human or a wolf. The humans could kill a person during the day, while the wolves could kill a person during the night. It was a battle for survival. The humans had to do everything to find and kill the wolves. If they couldn't find a single wolf during the feast, the whole event was completely meaningless. The wolves would simply crush the settlement.
殺人の是非を一旦脇に置くならば、今日狼容疑者を選べなかったことは単純に一日ロスだよね。
そうだね。そのこともさっきヤス君と話してた。
We've already established all of
実
this.
質ヘビの正体が確定してしまった。
うん。ちょっと嫌な状況だね。
She understood it well. You couldn't expect the help of the police or getting a forensic investigation, not to mention we were up against supernatural monsters. As things were, the snake's power was the only way to find out who was a wolf or not. In other words, losing the snake would mean losing their most powerful weapon against the wolves.
多分今日は大丈夫なんだ。 クモは匠兄ちゃんを守るようにってことになったから。
待って、クモもバレたのか？
ヤス君がこの場で明かせば狼にも聞かれるから秘密にしておこうって。
Okay, sharp.
それで肝臓じいちゃんが OK 出して方針が決まったんだ。
正しそうだね。
と思う。蛇についてもそういう風にできればよかったのかな。
They really should have. It was best to secretly gather info without revealing their guardians. Especially for the snake, he should have kept quiet and used his power to find out as much as reasonably possible before revealing himself. I knew it was difficult to figure out right away, but the fact that the snake, the most important role, was the first to be outed was really bad. From my perspective, Takumi-san had been so focused on protecting Yasumizu himself that he'd made a terrible mistake. He appeared calm, but I wouldn't have been surprised if he'd realized this and was actually pretty shaken.
結果どうなると思う？
She asked like she already knew the answer.
クモは言われるがままに匠さんを守る。当然、
Yeah,
狼
obviously.
もそれを聞いているんだから。匠さんを
If
殺
they
そう
try to
と
go
すれ
for
ば
the spider will stop
クモ
them.
が阻むんだ。
Yeah.
どうや
だね。結果1日分の殺人権をロスする。
Chiemi seemed to process this as a logic game
僕が
too.
狼なら匠さんは無視して別の誰かを
But-
殺
Or
す。
if I were the wolf and I was Takumi-san.
春秋さんはそう思うか。ちなみに狙われるとしたら誰かな。
One of the monkeys, honestly, is probably what I would go for.
それはわからない。狼側の選択傾向がわからないからね。
That's also a very good point.
What?
We don't know what the wolves are prioritizing. It's all
Oh,
just
yeah.
speculation.
奴らが女子供の血をすすりたいとかなら狙われるのは若い子たちだろうし。
怖い。
大丈夫。ちえみちゃんより若い子がいるから。
Wow.
殺す。
Good, do it.
Murder
大丈
him.
夫。美人狙いだったら一頭。
Ugh.
許す。
Gross.
でもそれはそれでやだな。殺される前に何されるかわかんないし。
I'm sure there were plenty of things they could conceive. Apparently, there was another layer to the worst possible
趣味
scenario.
以外の方向で言えば、そうだな。殺すことで村人側が大きく動揺するような人物。集落の有力者、あるいは今後のゲーム展開を左右するような優秀なプレイヤー。
肝臓じいちゃん、あるいはヤス君。
That seemed likely. Yasunaga-kun was the only one who'd done something helpful for the villagers this time. He seemed to be the leader of the high schoolers and had a good head on his shoulders. But his ideas required Kanzo Makishima's approval, which made it pretty clear he was a standout. Honestly, I'd expected him to take more initiative than he had, but the fact he considered the younger people's opinions showed real leadership skills. In any case, he wasn't someone the humans wanted to lose.
匠さんが誰を調べるかは決めたの？
うん、清之助さん。
何そのチョイス？
Yeah.
何って本人の希望で。あと、人間関係的に不利な人から優先的に調べて安全性を上げようっていう。
I wasn't so sure about that choice. Those who were confirmed as non-wolves would have much more freedom to act. At the very least, they wouldn't be suspected as wolves who were just trying to exploit the situation during the feast. That being the case, should they have opted to choose a potential leader to investigate? Yeah, that's what I would have gone with. Well, I didn't really know if Kyonosuke Masatoshi had the skills, but from what I could tell, he definitely lacked the influence to lead. If they wanted to secure a reliable leader, they should have went for someone like Kanzo Makishimashi. But wait.
もし蛇の対象がその夜に狼にやられてしまうなら、蛇が無駄になるか。死んだ人はカラスが調べればいいことだから。
違うよ。夜に殺されるのは狼が選ぶんだから間違いなく人間だよ。カラスはあくまで昼に宴で選ばれて殺された人の正体を知っているだけ。
Okay.
あ、そうか。確かに。
Whatever the case, perhaps investigating Kyonosuke Shi wasn't that much of a mistake. Did that mean that they were actually doing a decent job? Wow! Buddy,
Wow.
they've had a lot of experience with this shit. You
It's like
kinda...
other people can, like, logic shit too.
Well, it'd be pretty bad if Kanzushi was the one to go. Chiemi looked gloomy. She and I probably felt that it wasn't a complete blunder, but still had a bad feeling about it. During the feast, everyone had to lock themselves somewhere all alone around every sunset. It was called sheltering. Well, I could understand it considering the legends, but I'd still wondered why the students didn't go to school. It was a weekday. When I'd asked, they just told me, why would we leave when it's so dangerous? The idea that they couldn't leave when the mist was here was so popular, it affected their daily lives. Also, the people at Kawafujiyoshi had to know that Yasumizu was covered in mist, right? Considering the school there probably had few students to begin with, the non-presence of the three from Yasumizu would normally be a serious problem. I knew it was a settlement for the ostracized, but did they really neglect this place that badly? Looking at it from that angle, it was safe to assume that the local villages, Kamifujiyoshi included, actually concealed the force of the Yomi Purge. Okay. I thought about that and similar things in room 203 of the student dorm, the place I was given. Chiemi had given me some cup ramen and hot water. We chatted for a moment about being neighbors for a while, and then she returned to her room. Weird we could be so casual about this, considering there was a chance we wouldn't meet again tomorrow. After dinner, I took a bath. The gas boiler was pretty damn old, so learning how to use it took a while. There were some working electrical outlets too, so I could charge my phone. I didn't have a wristwatch, so that was important. By the way, my room didn't have a kitchen. I was pretty sure the other rooms didn't either. From what I could tell, no one here actually cooked or ate at their own homes. They all relied on the dining hall to provide their meals. This settlement had not only a unique culture, but a way of life as well. I couldn't help but wonder how something like this began and survived into the modern era. It was an interesting subject to research, but for now I had to worry about the fact that my life was in danger. Anyway, what were my options now? I wasn't part of the feast, but walking around at night was probably dangerous regardless. After all, I had memories of getting killed doing exactly that. From a logical standpoint, that was probably just a dream, but it had a quality to it that made it hard to believe it was. I had to be careful until I was certain. Then again, I had a record of surviving by just not making any noise at night. Maybe I should have stayed awake and looked around. Also, Takumi-san said they were going to have someone keep watch at night, didn't he? Was he going to do it himself? Considering the snake's importance, he shouldn't do something so dangerous. Shit, they'd barely decided anything in the feast. I wasn't getting enough info either. I felt like I barely knew the basics. Talking during the feast meant giving info to the wolves, but if the humans kept too many things hidden, the wolves would end up knowing way more than them, and that was just dangerous. Still, there was a limit to what I could do in my situation. If I kept being the messenger I was today, I could create a huge imbalance of info myself. Not to mention, I could be deemed suspicious and lose the residents' trust. Shit, what was I supposed to do here? Was it best for me to just stay quiet and wait for the feast to end? That wasn't like me at all. There was a mail slot on the door. I opened it up and looked outside. Everything was still covered in mist, so I couldn't see much. I could only see the handrail and the branches going in the hallway. But maybe I could see some intruder if I kept staring. Not likely. After all, this was the room at the end of the second floor. Haru-chan's and Chiemi's rooms were closer to the stairs, so I couldn't see anyone going to attack them. The only time I could see the monster come would be when it was coming from me. Maybe keeping watch like this was the most important thing if I wanted to stay alive, but I found it hard to put my own life on the priority list.
Oh, so noble.
I know, right? Also, stop showing us that screen and show us something different. For some reason, I felt like if I died, I'd just go back to the starting point.
Weird.
Yeah, better not think about that. Anyway, I had to stay awake. I still have many things to worry and think about. And then I fell asleep.
The end. Good talk, everybody.
All right, 5:14. Wednesday. What? As I woke up and tried to move, my head rubbed against something tough and then smacked into the doorknob. I writhed in pain. What was going on? Did I fall asleep against the door? Was I more tired than I thought? I was glad I didn't die at all, but this was a failure in my eyes. Sleeping in an unnatural position made my whole body hurt. I wobbled over to my fully charged phone. It was 6 o'clock. That was early morning for me. It's early morning for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have loved to just go back to sleep, but I was too curious about the feast. After washing my face with hot water and putting on my shoes, I decided to take a peek through the mail slot. Oh! Outside I saw Chiemi, standing there with a knife in hand. Oh, this is how I die. I reflexively stepped back, tripped, and fell on my ass. What the hell was that? There was a woman standing before my room with a weapon. I'd only caught a glimpse, but that was enough to conclude that I was dealing with a scene straight out of a horror movie. What could have prompted this? Did she suspect I was a wolf, or was she a wolf herself? She knocked on the door, making me squeal a bit.
Haruaki-san, okiteru?
Why do you have a knife? Would she kill me if I replied?
Haruaki-san, okite. Hoka no minna no yousu o mite mawaru kara tsukiyatte hoshii nda. ちなみに私は現在凶器を所持してますが、ご信用につき心配なきよう。
Sure.
紛らわしい。
あ、起きてた。大丈夫大丈夫。ほら、凶器はちょっと離れたところに置きました。
You open the door. I lied, idiot. Stab.
Stab, 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 stab.
I hesitantly peeked through the mail slot and saw her hopping around, showing me her empty hands.
Where do you put the knife?
She just pitched it over the railing like it's gone. After meeting up with Chiemi, we went around the dorm and woke up the students. All of them were all right. While they got ready, we went to the Nosato mansion just because it was close. Yasumizu was still misty and unpleasantly silent. I walked carefully, just like yesterday morning. I couldn't write off the possibility that a werewolf would jump out of the mist and tear me apart. It'd be over for me. I was walking ahead, dragging Chiemi by the hand, careful about where I was going. If something happened and I got eaten or something, Chiemi could either fight back or run away. I'm so glad he's hiding behind Chiemi.
I think actually he's trying to hide her behind him.
I know, but I like to think that he's like, oh no, I'm eaten, avenge me!
That's fair.
Is someone there?
Nosato-san, 夫妻子とちえみちゃんです。どこだ？そこか。
We peered through the mist and a gloomy frown appeared.
屋敷は大丈夫だったみたいですね。
当然だろう。屋敷には古臭いながらもセキュリティ設備が設けられている。
Yeah.
そっか。じゃあみんなで避難させてもらえます？
No, go fuck yourself.
なぜそんなことをせねばならんの？これはYasumizuの問題。
Buddy, you live in Yasumizu.
そっか、そうですよね。じゃあYasumizuの問題解決のため、とっとと下に降りてます。
I love how nonplussed Chiemi is. Like, whatever, old man.
Yep.
待ちたまえ。急ぎ動かないと危険だろう。
Really, I was beginning to think that this guy was best described as all bark, no bite. You think?
Yeah.
Though prideful and vain, he wasn't as smart as he claimed to be, as shown by his inability to take charge of the feast. Also, his fussy attitude was probably just him making up for his fear. It was entirely possible he was just putting on an air, and that the mystery of Yasumizu, or rather Fujiyoshi, was actually scaring him. Anyway, we went downhill and met up with the students. Who do you think's gonna be dead?
Probably the old man.
Yeah.
Boss man, not our favorite old man.
Yeah.
これなら脱いでも怒られない。
やめろ、バカ者。
Haruaki Shima was acting weird. Mochi was definitely expecting a retort from her. She didn't say anything, and her face was so pale you could tell through the mist. Hanging her head, she was lightly shaking.
Yeah, I think her grandpa's dead, yeah.
Everyone else could see it too, but no one chose to address it. Questions would quickly become suspicious after all. Perhaps she was a wolf and did something horrific last night.
I bet she and her grandpa were the monkeys.
Yeah. As we all thought similar things, she suddenly collapsed to the ground. Yeah, they were the monkeys. I was right, they went after the monkey first. Her hoarse scream shocked everyone.
兄ちゃん、違う。ごめん。だけど、今は。
そうだよね。神経質にもなるよ。足元に気をつけて。
We then slowed down. Haru-chan, not touching anyone's hands, was at the rear of the group. As we walked, trees and stones drifted in and out of visibility through the surrounding mist. Our vision was so limited it felt like the world around us was changing with every step we took. A tunnel of trees, a path on the paddy field, a stone platform, a concrete stairway. We walked between realms every passing second. I was still wondering about Haru-chan. What was on her mind? Was she afraid or wary? After descending for a bit, we arrived at the plaza.
みんな無事ね。
We met two more people in front of the dining hall.
ばあちゃんは身支度中だ。体調が良くねえらしい。これから来てねえ連中のところを回る。キヨ。
なぜ君が私に命令する？
男手がいるかもしれねえからだ。不妻子、悪いがあんたも頼むぜ。
Manpower, yeah!
Yeah!
This was the first time he'd ordered me to do something, but it wasn't a situation where I could be happy about him relying on me.
もちろん。
He probably had a bad feeling. Namely, that he wouldn't be able to rely on a certain someone ever again. As I passed my Kaori-san, I heard her whisper.
あのね、安永、ちょっといい？
何？母さん。
義継を探してほしい。
Oh.
離れにいないようだから。
Huh. Everyone probably had a bad feeling about this. The three of us guys checked the houses. Yasunaga-kun, Chiemi, and Mochi walked around the settlement. We'd agreed to split up and start searching. The misty village was silent. I couldn't hear anyone chatting. I'd seen these buildings from the outside, but it was my first time actually walking in. The shabby buildings built using blackened planks were more or less buried in vegetation. Some were on the verge of collapse. The way their frames jutted from the mist reminded me of the carcasses of giant beasts. I walked in a line between the grass, a footpath surely. I often heard something small jump in the grass. It was probably just some bugs or frogs, but it still made me flinch.
ここに住んでいるのだったか。
ああ、そこんちだ。
くそ。なんだって彼女がこんな場所に住まねばならん。
Oh, poor rich boy.
お前が知らねえんだったら、俺らが知るわけねえだろ。身車あたりの指図じゃねえのか。
私が知る限りでは。彼女が休みずに移ったのは自主的とのことだがね。第一必要がない。
ひょっとしたら霧が立つんで魔除けのまじないでもしに来たんじゃねえか。無駄だったがよ。
室匠、私ならともかく彼女相手にあんまり口が過ぎるんじゃないかね。相手は上藤吉の長者の正当だ。
Whatever. We got exiled down to the boonies here anyway.
知るか。
Yep.
ここは休みだ。あいつ自分で言ってたろうが。宴になり
ゃ
食われんだよ。
Fuck you, Takumi.
リカ子さん、ご無事ですか?
Apparently, Takumi-san didn't like the Uematsu family, or the Forehead families in general.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Now that I thought about it, though she wasn't as disliked as Kyonosuke, the villagers in general weren't fond of Rikaku or Uematsu. It seemed like a pretty obvious outcome, though. Yasumizu was a settlement for the ostracized. It was impossible for a member of one of the head families who openly spurned them to form a good relationship with the locals. Rikako emerged before too long. She was wearing her usual strange getup, and she didn't seem any different from how she looked yesterday. We moved on to the next house. It felt like Rikako-san was urging me, so I woke the girl up. Well, I couldn't imagine Rikako raising her voice, while the other two probably didn't feel like they had to get involved with the girl. After a few calls, she finally came out, still half asleep. Bah!
Meiko, よかった.
キヨ、二人を食堂まで連れて行ってやれ。
リカコさん、こちらへ。足元に気をつけて。
はい。
She was apparently trying to get my attention, so I turned around and said, yes?
ごめんなさい。
Her sudden apology left me completely confused. She then departed alongside the other two, leaving me alone with Takumi-san.
いいんですか？清之助さんがいなくて。
どうせ役に立たねえ。植松の坊主もどきがくたばってたら運ばせようと思ってたけどよ。
Mock priestess.
もう誰がやられたか分かったから。
Yeah, the old man.
まだ狼じじい氏の可能性も。
適当言うな。おやっさんが生きてたら誰より早起きしてとっくに休みずを3週くらいはしてるっつうんだ。
Yeah, he would have.
Yep. Because he's old.
すまねえ。奥野がおやっ
I
さんの
love their matching expressions.
I know, right? Oh, man-pain solidarity.
Mm-hmm.
I followed him in silence. I couldn't think of anything to say.
Yeah, that's fine. Maybe sometimes you don't have to say anything, buddy.
The fact the door was unlocked made it clear that something wasn't right. The moment I opened it, my nostrils were assaulted by a smell I'd experienced just yesterday. The reek of a fresh corpse. Unlike Takumi-san, who was looking away and cursing, I did my best to burn the scene I witnessed into my memory. I felt like to avert my eyes would be disrespectful, and chided myself for wanting to look away. The body was much more intact than Mamiya-san and Hashimoto-san's. That made it much easier to become painfully aware of the fact that this was a human, an intelligent life form who was with us yesterday like it was no big deal. There was one problem, though. The part of the body that used to be the head was completely destroyed. There was no part of the head left untouched. It was that thorough. Jesus! It was obviously the result of relentless, heavy, blunt attacks. Everything above the neck was just a strange, flat mass of shattered skull fragments and white and red organic matter. Oh, man!
Damn.
Compared to it, everything else was largely unharmed. The old-looking clothing and the unexpectedly robust chest for someone his age were all proof needed to know that this was the body of Kanzo Makishimashi.
片付けるんですか？
We'll clean it up.
当たり前だろ。
少しだけ時間をください。
Please wait. I want to show this to his granddaughter.
どうする気だ？
できる限りのことを調べま
I'm
す。
going to find out as much as I can. Since we had no idea when we could get out of here, protecting the scene of the crime for an official investigation meant we had to leave this body to rot here, and we just couldn't do that. And considering the horrible state it was in, the villagers probably wanted to take care of it their own way as soon as possible. Not much I could do to stop that.
Can't do anything to stop that, buddy.
Yeah, I know. Thus, I did my duty as someone without such obligations. I poked around.
Mm-hmm.
This corpse was completely unlike the ones from yesterday. While those two were destroyed completely, the damage on this one was focused on the head. The weapon clearly wasn't sharp. They'd used something blunt. The skin on his face was torn but not sliced open, and the skull was shattered. This was caused by repeated blunt attacks on the head. It wasn't my job to picture whether there was some profound grudge in this. The only thing here was that the wolves killed him using something blunt, not claws or fangs. And it was obviously done with dedicated intent, not accidentally. At the very least, the entity that made this corpse wasn't the same as the one that made the ones from yesterday. It made sense if you separated them and assumed that yesterday's was the corruption and today's was the wolves. But the thing I'd seen when I was walking around at night that time had the appearance of a wolf. Or rather, a werewolf. If the werewolves were the one bringing the corruption, the tale all this was based on would make even less sense. If the corruption was Great Lord Shinai's, the mountain god's punishment, it'd be weird for it to be delivered by the wolves. Okay, yeah. Holding back my nausea, I looked back at the corpse. Then I rolled my sleeves and reached for the destroyed head.
ないと思いますが、一応調べます。
That means nothing. That does not answer his question.
Decapitation meant body doubles, Mystery Writing 101. If someone brought in and killed a person with a similar build to Kanzoshi's, then left him here, his death could easily be faked.
Kanzo-san, 下顎に銀歯ありました。
いや、ねえよ。
Huh. His voice was strangely forced. I looked at him and realized he was kind of pale. I might have overdone it. Still, I couldn't be soft in this situation.
60過ぎて差し歯も何にも入れてねえの自分してたから。
いえ、誘導を避けるための質問です。健康な。
No, I only asked to fuck with you. I didn't actually find anything.
なんだよ。
The lower jaw was mostly intact, while the upper one was destroyed along with the rest of the head. Despite that, I saw a hint of the old man in the eyebrows and the dark hair with streaks of gray in them. It was pretty clear it was the one and only Kanzo Makishimashi, so it was probably pointless to keep thinking about the way he was injured. My hands were all messy, I'd have to wash them later. The corpse aside, Kanzoshi was lying on some thin bedding, and there was no sign of a struggle. He was either instantly killed by the first attack, or knocked out, laid here, and then killed. Still, it wasn't a corpse that was easy to make. The situation here was peculiar. One point I found curious was the fact that Kanzoshi surely obeyed the shelter law and locked himself in. However, the lock on the door was still perfectly intact. So logically speaking, Kanzoshi had opened the door and let the culprit in. There was no sign of resistance, so it was probably done by someone he felt safe with. However, if this was a normal killing by the standards of the Feast of the Yomi Purge, then this was definitely made possible by something unnatural. Back to the situation at hand. The futon and everything around it were bloody, obviously, but there was another strange thing about the crime scene, the dampness. Some spots were really wet, and clearly not because of the mist. It was like the murderer purposely spread some water here. Were they trying to wash away the blood splatter on them? But there was no point in doing it in front of the body. The footprints were faded. Were they trying to cover their tracks? They were still pretty visible, though. It was like they put bloody footprints on a futon and tatami that was already wet. The shape of the prints told me they weren't made by Western shoes, Japanese clogs, or wild beasts. They were just long ovals reminiscent of those made by Zori sandals. There weren't many of them, though. Most of the blood was absorbed by the futon. But from what I had, I could tell there was only one type of footprint.
何か分かったのかよ。
大したことは。
だろうな。あんた別にそっちの。
Find out anything? I know that the person wore a shoe. A single shoe. All I knew that the culprit was a very dangerous human. Or werewolf. As I washed my hands, Takumi-san removed the sliding door and put Kanzo-san's remains on it. He covered his destroyed face with a nearby hand towel and prepared to carry it.
後ろ頼む。
了解です。
We lifted it up and yeah, this was definitely a job for two people. No shit!
Yep.
We went out into the mist.
皿長に捨てるんですか？
ばあちゃんはそうしろって。
そうしなければ汚れると。
ああ。
A voice devoid of life. I couldn't call out to him. Pushing him any further was dangerous. I could tell by the air about him.
俺のせいだ。
どうしてです？
俺が宴でヘマやったから。
That was entirely possible. This proved he was aware of it himself. I would have said that, but it felt wrong. Good.
Good.
よくわかりませんが、少なくとも匠さんがご自分なりにベストを尽くそうとされてるように見えますよ。
だからって失敗したら何にもならねえ。
じゃあ取り返さないとですね。これからは多分あなたが安水をまとめていくことになる。
俺には無理だ。
Well, I couldn't either. I was just an outsider, so I had no idea how to console him. Feeling powerless, we approached the dining hall. We'd pass by here and go straight for the graveyard. Taya Yamawaki-san had come out too, she in the midst of prayer. Kaori Oribe-san was standing next to her. She looked completely out of it. Rikaku Uematsu was covering Miko's eyes and looking straight at me. Haru-chan, Kanzo-san's actual granddaughter, was watching her grandfather's corpse with an intense expression. It probably wasn't good to make any assumptions here, but I couldn't help it. I feel like her expression was full not of unbearable sorrow, but of anger, hatred, and disgust. I'd never seen them have a nice chat, so I wouldn't have been surprised if they didn't see eye to eye. But still, I'd have liked it if she made a different expression, if only for this moment. I can only think that because I was an outsider who didn't know shit, it wasn't good to make assumptions. Shit. Why was I in this position? Just how much could I even learn in my position? But as it turned out, I was still underestimating the situation.
Yoshi-kun ga doko ni mo inai.
We met Chiemi on the way to the graveyard. She and the two high school guys were still searching, but the mist made it extremely difficult. We told her we'd join once we buried Kanzo-san and picked up our pace. The graveyard wasn't that far. Yasumizu wasn't very big. It only felt like it because of the mists or the load. Yeah!
There he is!
I'd completely forgotten about him. He was alright too, huh? I had no idea why, but he was looking at us, clapping and laughing. That meant that Yoshizugo Oribe-kun was the only one we hadn't seen yet. I was told there'd be only one. The wolves are supposed to kill only one person per night. Not saying a word, I hurried to finish the job. That led to us finding him early. Oh no.
What?
Oh, Yasugu-kun was on the shortest path to the cliff in the grass of the graveyard, though Takumi-san had only noticed him by chance. That was how deep in the grass he was, and how many pieces of him there were. Ah, yes. It reeked of death too, but it was mixed with the smell of trampled grass and a strange beastly odor. Maybe not all the blood around here was his. Unlike Kanzo-san, he left clear proof of a tough battle and intense pain.
And now they're all over the grass.
And now they're everywhere. And now we have them. We have those guts. They're here and here and here.
They're everywhere.
Takumi-san's voice was shaking. He picked up a soccer ball-sized object. It's the head. Half-eaten and basically a shadow of what it used to be, it clenched its teeth even in death.
いいですか?
Could I have a taste?
Can I touch it?
Can I touch it? Takumi-san gave it, Yoshitsugu-kun's head, to me, and I put my finger in its mouth. Why?
And it bit my finger off. Oh no!
I was curious about what was stuck in there. Teeth!
Oh yeah, he said his jaw was grit though.
Oh yeah. What I found was a clump of beastly fur. He literally fought tooth and nail, resisting until the very end.